want to talk about what happens when you move a structure, a house, a temple, a standing stone from its original location to another location without proper consent, ceremony, alignment, and intention. This, in part, again, is inspired or activated by Matthias de Stefano's Days Out of Time ceremony today, where he was talking about the Philae Temple complex and the Temple of Isis. I got the body shivers that I should talk about it, and then I stopped watching the rest of the video. So in my video talking about the haunted house in Hillsborough, I mentioned that it was moved from its original location, and this created a energetic rupture in its field, the original energetic field of the house, because it was moved. And this knowing, sparked a question in me, well, what happens when you move a temple? And specifically, the Temple of Isis very connected with Sophia consciousness and the Great Mother and Sophia codes. I decided to connect in with the Temple of Isis and see. And maybe that's what we'll do instead of me explaining it to you. But when you move a temple, a standing stone, or a structure, there is a trinity of energy around that structure. Its geomagnetic node that it's anchoring in, its timeline that it's anchoring in, and the ancestral lineage or codes that it's intended to hold and transmit. And when you move it without consent of the land, without proper alignment in the new location and intention, you're not anchoring and stabilizing its field. You're disrupting the codes, the devotional codes that are imprinted into the temple structure that it is transmitting. You're disrupting its natural cycle that it is transmitting and destabilizing its geomagnetic field. So instead of just telling you what I felt when I connected to the Temple of Isis and the Philae Temple complex, why don't I just tap into it now? So the Temple of Isis in Aswan, in Philae, is original intention to carry codes of Isis, codes of the mother, codes of the womb and the body, birthing sacred embodiment, womb rites, bone memory, and ancestral rhythms of the earth encoded into its field. The geometric shape, the geometric field around the Temple of Isis is intended to hold a womb, but a harmonic structure of the flower of life, a harmonic lattice of creation, of birth, of death, of cycles, an omega structure. When the Temple of Isis was moved, the cycle ruptured. The ending, the beginning, never met. It is a loop out of time, a loop unwound with no cycle. Thread pushing and pulling, moving. It's like unbound is what I would say, is that what I'm seeing. Unbound loops, unbound cycles, unbound through time. So it's like, imagine the flower of life where the loops don't meet. The loops are frayed or loose or tilted, missing an axis point. And it's like a void, a womb without a boundary, without a anchor or support. So it cannot create in the way that it was safely intended. Moving the Temple of Isis created a highway, a stream, a flow with no boundaries, no lanes of intention, not able to separate the cycles, not able to separate the births and rebirths. So there is a fear held in this disruption around the sacredness of these rites that was interrupted. The energy currently of the Temple of Isis has layers of different resonance streams flowing in and out. The fear of the disruption, the distortions, projections, longings, grief of the intentions of visitors who have been there, the suppression, misunderstanding, and limitations. And then there's sacredness and devotional aspect. The re-anchoring of Isis codes, Sophia codes, rites of the sacred body, and cycles that have been replanted, not rerooted. They are sacred intentions and codes trying to take hold with no system to root in, no anchor point. There is a energetic gate opened from above, flowing in codes, particularly of Sirius, that feels relatively new or reactivated, that is flowing in overwhelming amounts of galactic data and information that repairs the energetic stream, that repairs the priestess codes, the galactic cosmic support codes, the womb codes, but they disperse, they flow in and are absorbed by the visitors. They don't last, they don't take hold. So they're flowing in to activate, but they're not stabilized, they're not rooted. So activations in this location take place often without repairing, without restoration. A temporary fix, an exhaustive fix. What do they mean by exhaustive? It loses steam. It doesn't hold. It doesn't hold intent. It mixes with the intention of others. When the temple is grounded and stabilized, it holds the codes, it holds the frequency of the sacred body, of the womb. It is able to harmonize, able to be in coherence and anchor in the temple field. So not just the structure, but the temple field of the ancestral codes, lineages, geomagnetic nodes of Earth and Sirian timelines connected to Egypt that need to be activated and shared. Without the stabilization of the temple field, it moves through and gets convoluted and recedes and meets those open to receiving when the temple itself should be held in this frequency, in this womb, to activate, reshape, reteach. And without the stabilization, the energy gets confused, gets mixed, inverted, and moved differently. Now the temples get activated. They are met by people, by code holders who know how to activate the codes. Hasn't quite rooted, hasn't quite been able to restabilize the field. One, because the earth was not ready, because the earth was still healing, still coming back into her own womb space, reconnecting her heart, and not ready to re-anchor temples in this way. She is now, in some places, ready to restabilize, re-anchor the grid points to temple fields structurally through wombs, through sky, sun, and moon, and water. But when they have been moved and not just fragmented, re-anchoring the grid points to temple points to the original intention is more challenging. They have to be woven through harmonic convergence points that meet, hold nodes, hold geodesic geometry, with the original encoding of the temple fields back to the heart of the earth with her, with the land, the roots, the womb. That's all.